if nobody knows who you are, it's actually a good thing. And so imagine this is you, and you're here because you have no followers, and of course you're very sad by that, or at least you think you are. Maybe you're crying very sad tears, right? And you don't have this massive audience like these big celebrities or influencers do. And I'm just going to explain 3 reasons why this will help you win. My name is Alex Mosey. I'm the founder of acquisition.com. We make huge sums of money that are unreasonable, so much so that I can have unnecessary extra camera angles like this one and this one and this one. But I will give you my quick disclaimer, which is that everything that I'll share with you, I'm an experienced business person and marketer, and so these are no way promises that you will achieve anything at all, mostly because most people do absolutely nothing. That being said, let's dive in. So number 1 is that you're an underdog. So the first and most important point of being unheard of is that every position actually has an advantage. And so, for example, let me tell you a story. So I had a company called Allen, which I ended up selling 75% of 4 years ago, 2021, however many years ago that was. While I was working inside of Allen, we had B2B customers. We had agency owners. And so an agency owner got on the phone with me, and he actually was serving gym owners. Now at the time, I still owned Gym Launch, the company that I ended up selling also in 2021. He said, I feel like it's not fair that I have to compete with you. Now, mind you, I'm like here trying to help this guy grow his business, even though he is technically a competitor of mine by selling to gym owners. I made this point to him that I thought was worth making probably for you, which it doesn't really matter where you're at in business. Like, I think one, you should always try and think like an underdog. If you're in the apparel space, you're always competing with Nike. And so like you're an underdog compared to Nike. But I think the underdog mentality is a winning mentality because underdogs are the ones who win ultimately. And the people who are at the top of the mountain are the ones who are fat and happy and end up getting taken over by the underdog. And so, I mean, Jeff Bezos talks about this. He says it's always day one at Amazon, is that they want to keep that mentality. And part of that reason is why they are so big, is that they still maintain that flexibility. So I want to hit on some of these advantages. In talking to this agency owner, he was struggling and he said, everybody who gets on the phone with me says, well, you're not Gym Launch and, give me your track record, how long you've been doing this, things like that. And he was like, I just don't really have a good response. And so I said, well, have you considered that, 1, when I started, I was in your position? And so 1, it's possible. Number 2 is that your advantage is that you're not me, right? So if we're the biggest person in the space, which Gym Launch is arguably the biggest, the market leader in that industry, the advantage that I have as Gym Launch is I'm going to say, hey, this guy, Adrian, is in his mama's basement and has no track record. And if you want Coca-Cola Classic and you want to know that you have success stories and there's tons of case studies and tons of proof of gyms just like yours seeing this level of success, we know that our system works. You just have to run the system, right? And so that's fairly compelling. Now, what do you say in response to that? Well, what you would say to the prospect is like, listen, well, you don't want to work with Gym Launch because to them, you're just a number. You're never going to meet Alex. You're never going to probably even talk to him. He's not going to know your name, right? You're going to get assigned some account rep, right, that doesn't care either. And they're just going to be running through some like checklist with you. Whereas for me, you're going to have my cell phone number. If you need anything, you can call me whenever you want. And it's actually me. And so who you're really comparing is not, my company versus Gym Launch. It's me versus their rep who they would assign you to. And I can promise you, I'm far more dedicated to seeing you succeed than they are. Compelling. Of course, both positions have advantages. And so you want to play the cards you're dealt. Only a loser's perspective that their position in some way dictates how the end is going to happen, right? Because one of the beautiful things about having nothing to lose is that you also have everything to gain. And so what it means is that you also have unlimited shots on goal. Because if you miss, you're just back at 0, which is exactly where you are. So you have essentially risk-free unlimited upside, which I think people wildly underestimate the advantage of the underdog, which is why, in terms of game theory, they're the most dangerous player on the board because they can't lose. And that perspective was ultimately what got me to even quit my job in the very beginning was, worst case scenario, I just get my job back. So that means that like I have risk-free shots. It's like life giving you a lottery ticket. The only thing you pay for is with time, but you still have unlimited upside every time you scratch it off. To me, not a bad gig. And to be clear, I have the portfolio that we have now and it's all this money and success, whatever.